For the smoothest ride available from a Trike kit, choose Trike. Engineered to be compatible with most bikes, Trike has more ground clearance than the competition and offset rear wheels to correct wobble. With a conversion, you lose horsepower, making the engine work harder. That's not the case with a Trike kit. With Trike, there's no modifications done to your bike, so you keep your motorcycle as is. So choose Trike, the smoothest ride available from a Trike kit.
Welcome back to Motorhead Garage, presented by Dustless Blasting. Millions of Americans love to hit the highways and byways of the country and go on road trips on motorcycles just like this Harley Electroglide Classic. It's a great bike, it chews up the miles, but it is pretty heavy. So there are riders with special needs, and maybe riders that get a little older, that they want more stability and they want more comfortable ride when they get out there on the highway on a bike like this. It's a gorgeous cruiser. Well, the folks at Trike have developed a system that allows you to enjoy your motorcycle and do it in a more satisfying way. Don from Trike, tell me what I'm looking at. You guys have the patent on this thing, literally.
Well, yes, we do on the air ride, Brian. This is the basic kit Trike has, and for those that can't afford more expensive bikes, this is $27.95, and it gives them all that they need to be able to ride. The fenders, the wheels, tires, everything comes with it.
The system is ingenious. You have these nice rod ends that are going to allow for nice freedom of movement, great box steel tubing, the welding quality is very high. But the suspension is where it's at. Tell me about the suspension.
Yes, sir. We had been through several different suspensions, and the torsion axles, we'd get the lightest weight ones we could, and they just weren't satisfying us. So that's when my husband came up with the air ride suspension. When that wheel hits a bump, that rocker arm takes it to the airbag, and so it really makes for a softer ride on a motorcycle Trike.
The quality continues on the fenders, which people are looking at it going, oh, those are fiberglass fenders. They're not. You guys go the extra mile there.
Yes, they are ABS, and actually you won't find these fenders anywhere else because my husband designed and sculpted the actual mold that they use to vacuum form the fenders. So his hand is on every inch of the Trike.
I'm looking at the back of the chassis here, and I'm seeing this upright. What am I looking at?
Okay, that's how we tie into the basic cruisers. That is tied into the back of this angle iron, which is 3/8 inch thick, and it comes up. This is actually done vertical to the floor, and that ties into your fender strut bolts. The higher you tie in, the more stable the bike is.
So this system, very modular, very adaptable for a bunch of different bikes because you're going to mount those where you need them to fit your particular application. It can be added and removed in minutes, I'm guessing, by the looks of it.
Yes, about 5 minutes. You'll have a bolt at the foot of that one and the foot of this one. You just remove those two bolts, and there is a nut at the bottom of that tie rod end. Just remove those two nuts, kick it down, and roll it off.
I'd like to give people a little bit better demonstration of the suspension, which we have a kind of a blown-up version to look at.
Okay, sure.
So, Don, as we walk over here and take a look at the suspension, I guess the first thing that strikes me is if you have one of these deals with a torsion axle on it, it is what it is. You're never going to be able to change it. But with this airbag, it's adjustable infinitely, right?
Yes, it is, Brian. And as you can see here with this rocker arm, this is your wheel attached to the spindle. And so when that wheel is hitting those bouncing around, this airbag is going to give. And that's what's going to take the rough ride out and make for a much smoother ride.
And speaking of adjustment, you know, all these motorcycles weigh differently, even the riders weigh differently, so there are some recommendations as to where you want your pressure, right?
Right. The bag will hold up to 100 pounds, but we put anywhere from 10 to 20 according to the weight of the bike and the passengers, whether there's just one or two passengers.
Now, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but when I look at this, I see something that could replace a torsion axle on a trailer or really anywhere else it's found.
That's right. We have it available to sale for any kind of configuration that uses a torsion axle, half torsion axle.
And this is another example. We saw this mounted to the rear of the Trike unit over there, but again, this is our rear mounting area, and you can see this. This is where the real kind of genius is, right? Because we're bringing that center of gravity or that up high.
Right, and this is set up vertical. We usually cut about 5 inches from the ground here for the good ground clearance on our kit.
So, Don, along with innovative suspension, innovative steering now coming from Trike. Tell me about it.
Yes, we have our patent applied for the power steering on the Trikes. It not only Trike, but it will work on other Trikes as well that it'll fit on. It actually has a switch that when you push the handlebar, it turns the switch on in the motors, and the harder the turn, the better it pulls. And so for people like me who's had
Sure.
shoulder replacements and all, I
Perfect.
have trouble steering. So that's going to be a big help for a lot of people with bad shoulders.
Another innovation from Trike, and we have innovations all the time showing up here at Motorhead Garage. If you got something cool or innovative you'd like to see on the show, contact Jeff at masterstv.com, and maybe you'll find yourself here with me or maybe with Don here at Motorhead Garage. We'll see you next week.